In April 2019, PewDiePie called an end to the subscriber battle between him and the Indian music company T-Series.
This movement started out of love and support, so let's end it with that.
And right now, this is how many subscribers they have. But in the war to become the world's most famous YouTube channels, subscriber count is just one of the battles. 2 years later, we are going to use data to see which one actually won the war. Which one is the bigger brand? Now, brands are more important than most people think. It's why people buy Coke rather than Pepsi. It's why people buy Apple rather than Samsung. It's why people spend a lot of money on expensive things. And every decade, there are both corporate brands and personal brands. The 90s was Forrest Gump, Blockbuster, Tommy Hilfiger, No Fear, Whitney Houston. The 2000s was Avatar, iPod, Paris Hilton, Abercrombie and Fitch, BlackBerry and Britney. The products or people may disappear, but brands, they live on. Before any new brand is launched, the first step is to understand your total addressable market. Basically, what is the total possible demand for your brand? We'll use country population to get a rough idea. So let's start with the population of Sweden, where PewDiePie is from, the UK, where he lives, and the US, where most of his subscribers live. And add in some other English-speaking countries, as well as the rest of Scandinavia, and screw it, let's add in Italy as well, for Marcia. Now, let's compare that to India. Even if you account for the fact that half of India isn't even on the internet, you're still looking at a much larger market size. So to build brand PewDiePie, Felix has got a much bigger job on his hands.
It's not done.
The next thing we need to do is understand the product type, because saying T-Series and PewDiePie are both YouTube channels is like saying Lipton tea and Moët and Chandon are both drinks. It's not a fair comparison. We can get an idea of this by looking at video views. So PewDiePie's top 20 videos average 77 million views each. And T-Series top 20 videos, they average 772 million views each. But there's a reason for that. If you look at the top 30 most viewed YouTube videos ever, 23 of them are music videos. And that's because YouTube is actually a video and audio platform. And when you listen to a song, you don't just listen to it once like you do with video, you listen to it again and again and again. And if you need proof, look at PewDiePie's top 2 most viewed videos. They're both songs. So T-Series creates content that is viewed on average way more times than the video Felix will create. Both are YouTube brands, both are YouTube channels, but with very different products. Productive capacity is basically how much a brand or economy can produce over a set time period. That's why to grow, businesses hire more people, build more factories, train their staff. The more capacity you have, the more you can put out there. So Felix averages 5 videos every week. T-Series, they average 4 videos every day. But building a brand is much more than that. It's about getting deeper with people. It's about building trust, winning people's hearts and minds. And probably most importantly, it's about building awareness of your brand beyond your little corner of the universe. The best place to start is by looking at a metric some of the world's biggest brands use to estimate and predict their share of market, called share of search. Or to put it more simply, are people searching more for PewDiePie or T-Series? So these are all the countries in the world where more people have searched for PewDiePie, and these are all the countries in the world where more people have searched for T-Series. Only in India do more people search for T-Series. Again though, this isn't a fair comparison. People are less likely to search for T-Series and much more likely to search for one of their videos. So there's only one way left to solve this. Every year, the biggest brands spend millions trying to understand their brand awareness, and they do this by looking beyond the internet, because apparently there's a world outside the internet. So to work this out, I paid to conduct a nationally representative sample of 300 people in the US to see how familiar they were with each of these 2 global brands, and the results were shocking. Apparently, in the US, most people haven't heard of either, but more people do have at least some familiarity with PewDiePie. So we can confidently say that in the US, the world's biggest economy, PewDiePie is the bigger brand. But again, that's not necessarily fair. The US is one of PewDiePie's biggest addressable markets, and not T-Series's. So short of doing a global survey, which I simply couldn't afford, I decided to take it back to their home countries. I asked 150 nationally representative people in Sweden and 150 nationally representative people in India if they were familiar with each of these national treasures. Or to say it in Swedish, hur bekant är du med YouTuber PewDiePie? And here we go, this is more like it. In Sweden, 1 in 2 people have heard of PewDiePie. He's not just YouTube famous there, he's a Swedish brand. And when you compare this to T-Series in India, we can clearly see that, oh shit, T-Series is proper famous in India. So what have we worked out? Well, T-Series have built an incredible brand in India, one of the biggest markets in the world, using one of the most effective video formats and making the most of the benefits of being a corporate entity. But in 50 years' time, if you had to gamble on which of these two are most likely to be etched in history as one of the most iconic global brands of this decade, it's far more likely that you're going to see PewDiePie there.